Hi, I'm Lizzie, and I am going to be your instructor today on how to train a horse for beginners. I have a very green horse with me today. You may be thinking, well, she is not green, and you're correct. She's technically like a brown-red color with black highlights, but you have to think of it as like a green banana. Training horses can be very dangerous. That's why we want to make sure that we go through all of the steps to make sure that we have a very safe foundation. So let's get to it. The first thing you want to do is to get your horse okay with you touching them everywhere. So now that we've trained her to be okay with us touching her everywhere, we need to desensitize her to the whip. Now that she's desensitized to the whip, we have to train her to yield to pressure on the reins or your lead line. Good. Good. Now that she knows to yield to pressure, we can now teach her to back up. Back up. Good. Now that she knows how to back up, we have to make sure that she can go forward. Now that we've trained her to back up and go forward, now we can train her to lunge. Lunging is a great thing to teach your horse because it's a very easy way for us to burn their energy. The first thing you're going to do with teaching them to lunge is you're going to ask them to lunge. Now that we've trained her to lunge, I'm going to ask her to trot in the lunge. And then I'm going to ask her to canter. Very good. Now that we have all of our groundwork basics, it's time to move on to desensitization. You want to desensitize your horse so you can do things like play volleyball with them. Now, in order to be able to play volleyball with your horse, you have to make sure they're not scared of the ball. So let's desensitize my very green horse to this ball. Now that we can play volleyball, we can move on to other scary things. Or maybe you really want to be a jumper, so you need to teach your horse how to jump. Teaching a horse to jump is actually one of the harder things to teach, but I will show you how to do it. Good! As you can see, jumping is very difficult to teach, so it is one of the more advanced tricks, so proceed with caution. And of course you'll want to desensitize your horse to things like tarps. And you'll probably want to desensitize your horse to things like children, because if your horse runs over a child, you'll probably get sued. You'll probably also want to desensitize your horse to things like Karens. I'm gonna call your manager! And you also want to train your horse to be able to walk behind them without getting kicked. And of course, last but not least, you want to teach your horse to be able to be ridden. Now, if you followed all of the instructions very carefully up until this point, all you should have to do to be able to ride your horse, you don't even need any special equipment. Just take the halter and lead rope you have, tie it up into some reins, like so, and this is where we'll teach our horse to be able to be ridden. Now that your horse knows how to be ridden, you're just one step away from being a professional. If you were able to follow all of the steps that I taught you today, you should be able to train your green horse how to ride in 1 hour. If you actually came to this video looking for help and advice, I apologize. But if you stayed thinking you were learning something, then I'm a little bit worried about you. I am a little bit worried about you. And I'm just doing you a favor, okay? I'm just teaching you that not all advice is good advice. And definitely do not go out and expect your horse to be able to be trained in 1 hour, because high expectations lead to lots of disappointment. If you thought you were actually learning something from this video, maybe you should go read the How to Train a Horse for Dummies book. Does that actually exist? Maybe I should write a book when I'm old and wise. But if you're still here and you're still looking for help and advice, I do have some videos that might be able to help you if you're a beginner. Or you could go look at this book, not sponsored, but it's probably the best horse training book out there. If you're a horse trainer, if you're a new horse trainer, even if you're not a horse trainer, if you just own a horse, even if you're just thinking about owning a horse, I highly recommend that book. Very mind expanding and takes a whole new approach to training a horse. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I think everybody should have the opportunity to be able to read that book. Anyways, I make merch. I made this. If you want one of these, let me know down in the comments. I also have an Etsy shop with all the shirts that I make. Go ahead and get your shopping on because it's 25% off right now. If you want, you can go ahead and subscribe, and if you like this video, go ahead and like it, and I'll see you guys next week Sunday.